Check.
Okay, let me know in the comments if you get tired of seeing me in the same outfit. You guys just have to understand.
Wait, hold on.
We don't have a lot of time.
Wait, different outfit.
Oh my gosh, you turned the hat forwards instead of backwards.
Different outfit. I don't stink.
Oh my god.
It's also the same day. Literally minutes
Literally.
after we finished the last one.
Maybe 2 minutes. I will say I finally feel like we are getting a grasp on this. I don't know if it's because I've been talking and filming all day. I feel like I'm already in the groove. But with having a huge break, I feel like we were doing pretty well.
Do you feel like we don't know what we're doing?
This is still the I don't know what I'm doing podcast.
Okay.
This will forever be the I don't know what I'm doing podcast. Forever.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not for you, but for Veronica, yes, I never know what I'm doing.
I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. Who posted that meme? Somebody posted a meme about the Enneagrams on... It said ready, aim, fire, basically.
Oh, yeah.
It was all the Enneagrams, and that's how they perceive it. It's like ready, aim, fire, and then there's ready, aim, fire. And then for both of the Enneagrams that we are, 3 and 8, it said fire, aim, ready? Question mark?
Yeah, which is like so true.
Absolutely. We didn't do our intro.
The studio was a fire, aim, ready. It was like, studio, let's buy it. Okay, we're furnishing it. Wait a minute.
How are we going to make money?
Can we do this? Oh my God. Okay, anyway, roll the intro.
We don't have it. You are the intro.
Hey guys. Welcome back to Feast or Famine.
We are the Youngs. You didn't say with the Youngs.
Oh, with the Youngs.
We're the Youngs. We're keeping all of that.
That's fine.
Okay. What are we talking about today?
I feel like I have now pretty much throughout this set up 0 expectations.
0. So today,
this is all Alex. He really wanted to talk about this.
It's not just me. You're going to interject.
Well, I will, but you feel pretty passionately about this.
I do.
I mean, I hopefully 1000% agree. I 1000% agree with what we're talking about today. You just feel really passionate about it, I think.
I do. And I'm not going to say what the topic is just yet. I'm just going to lead into it.
Go for it, babe.
So the education system has evolved.
Actually, I think you should say the topic.
I want to get there.
So people know what we're talking about.
I'm going to leave them hanging. Make them listen.
Oh my God.
So the education system as a whole has evolved a lot since we were in school. Mm-hmm. More so when I was in school. It was starting to shift a little bit when you were in school, and it still hasn't even fully shifted. But the idea was you do well in school so that you can go to college so that you can be successful.
Get a job and be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the way to do it. That was the only way to do it. You can't be successful unless you go to college, which also creates the need to have a lot of money so you can go to college. But that's a different topic too. But that's couldn't be further from the truth. We're sitting here living examples of I didn't need to go to college to do any of the stuff that I'm doing right now.
True.
And most of the business stuff that I learned did not come from school.
Same.
So luckily what we're seeing right now, I think it's happening faster right now because of the pandemic. That might be one of the positives, if there are any, that came out of the pandemic, is a lot of people are pursuing self-employment.
Yeah, for sure.
And not that self-employment is the only option, but college isn't the end all be all.
Yeah. And, as the world grows and social media grows, you're also seeing things like social media influencers, people who literally have a job on TikTok. When I was in high school, that was never a thing. Like YouTube was like just on the ground running where people were starting to make money from YouTube.
But what happens when social media is not a thing? What happens to all those influencers when Facebook and Instagram go down for an entire week next time instead of a day?
Right.
So yes, that's a good way to start a living and build a brand, but you have to branch out further than that.
That's true.
But more so what I'm talking about is all of the options that you have that aren't college, that you don't necessarily have to go to college for. Yes, What we're doing is one of those things. What the influencer doing is one of those things. And they're building a brand. Hopefully, if they do it right, they'll build into a brand big enough to not have to need social media for. But then you also have people like electricians, welders, contractors, plumbers, HVAC technicians,
Okay.
the trades.
I'm like, get on with it.
I'm
Yeah.
just the people that are in the trades.
Obviously, let's preface this by saying, obviously, there are some careers where you need to go to college. Teacher, doctor, lawyer.
Teacher, I feel like, is even questionable.
Actually, I would agree with that, yeah. So
Because-
doctor or lawyer for sure.
Because yes, doctor, lawyer, if you need beyond the standard 4-year degree
Yeah.
to do your job, yes, college is pretty necessary. But even a teacher, I don't think needs
So what
to go to college.
what you're saying is that if you can learn the trades and tricks of a job by simply doing it and having the experience being on the job, you don't necessarily need to go to school for it.
Right. And there's a lot of money in it. Electricians, contractors make $70,000, $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good money.
I don't know if this is, I feel like this goes along with this topic, but that thing that we found out last week, that school, that like elementary,
Oh, yeah.
It was pre-K through 12th grade.
Yeah, Caitlin James is
Yeah,
starting.
she's starting.
Her and her husband are starting.
So I didn't even know that these schools existed until I heard that she was opening one. And then I found out that, they're kind of all over the world. But these schools,
They're K through 12 schools, not colleges.
yeah, they're K through 12. But I think that this is important because what you're saying is when we were in high school, we were kind of had the expectation of, okay, now the next step is college.
Right. You learn the basics, like that for some reason are the basics.
Yeah. But so this form of school that they are doing teaches almost the opposite. Not really, but like
I wouldn't say they teach the opposite, but they focus on
creativity and learning how to navigate the world through your passions. So they have like the standard curriculum, I think that every school needs in each state or whatever, but then they focus really heavily on the creative side and finding out from the very beginning from a kindergartner on what they're passionate about, and helping them develop those skills to potentially become a business owner in the future.
And they use the methods to teach people the ways that they're supposed to, like that they learn best. So the analogy that I always like to lean back on is you can't expect to teach a fish how to climb a tree and expect it to actually learn how to climb a tree.
Yeah.
Because a fish was never meant to climb a tree.
Right.
Same with people and kids. Not every kid was
Meant to go to college.
meant to do something a specific way that the education system as it stands right now pushes you toward.
I feel like, I'm going to speak for you. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you feel very impacted by that because you're not necessarily the hit the books kind of kid. And you never were.
I was very successful in school, though.
But you were good at school and you did it, but like you were not passionate about learning or like learning things to go to college, to get a degree and like, whatever. Like, what am I saying? Like you were not the type of kid that was like, I'm excited for college. It was just something that you felt like you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're sitting here 30 years old and you have all this college debt that you're not even using because even though you knew back then that it wasn't something that you were going to be loving that you're doing for the rest of your life.
I was programmed to believe that I had
Yeah.
to be successful. But I mean, you said it best. I mean, if there was a school like this available to me at the time, and I was able to actually go to it, I feel like I would have thrived much sooner in my life than I did now.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I'm not the only one that noticed that. My parents said growing up my entire life that they could see me running a business.
I mean, here's the deal.
And I didn't even think anything of that. I'm like, that sounds awesome. But I was focused on doing what school told me I needed to do doing it, going to college,
Yeah.
and then figuring it out.
I mean, why, in this day and age, why do you want to waste your time or waste anybody else's time?
Our
If
time
you-
is numbered.
If you feel like going to college and getting a mathematical degree, or I don't even know, what do people go to college for now? A sociology degree, and you're not going to actually use it, like a psychology degree, and you're not going to use it, don't waste your time and don't waste your money.
Right.
Even if, I feel like this is kind of the thing. It's like people who are like, I'm just going to go to college because I'm not really sure what I want to do.
Don't go to college
Don't
yet,
go
then.
to college. Like, don't do that, because
Live life.
you're not going to the chances are that you're not going to figure out what you want to do with your life being in college unless you have an experience in life being there. But you're spending so much money to do that, and I feel like that's not necessarily
The right way to do it.
the right way to do it.
But again, that's what kids are programmed to do these days. Hopefully, and I feel like that's, like I said, that's changing, sort of.
Yeah.
I still think we're a long way off from that,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's getting better. But yeah,
I mean, I even now, like, if I'm talking to like a young adult, I'm like, oh, like, what do you want to do with your life? And it's okay if they don't know, but because I was brought up to have that mentality, it's just a normal thing for me to expect them to know, which they might, but if they don't, that's okay too.
I feel like it comes down to a generational thing, because our parents were able to go to college if they wanted to go to college and find a job and get a job and be successful. And it worked then. And then even before that, our grandparents, some businesses would hire them and then send them to college.
Yeah.
My grandpa became an electrical engineer because busmen sent him to college. And he worked there for 60 years and he was very successful. But for example, there are a lot of these high school kids that are running businesses that are being pushed into college because that's what their parents feel like is
Well,
supposed
and
to
that's what high school, like, counselors and stuff like that, talk to them about. It's part of the high school thing. I
Right.
remember sitting down with my high school career counselor. It's called a career counselor.
But they say, what colleges do you want to?
Yeah, they give you pamphlets on colleges that you're interested in, and you apply.
Right.
But that is just not always that's not always the answer.
No. It's a closed-minded idea that the way you were successful 50 years ago is the way you're going to be successful now.
Yeah, and what the school that we were talking about, what is it called?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was called at all.
I'll have to look it up and I can link it down below. But I mean, if you're a parent and you have a young child, I definitely recommend looking into this, because they talk about how they specifically teach them how to fail forward, is what they call it.
Interesting. I didn't read that.
And, they work with their hands and they help them find their passions and work through, hardships and troubles. And they also, like, when it becomes an appropriate age, they talk about managing finances. Like, I feel
There's
like
a lot of missed opportunity for
Yes.
financial development in high school even.
I feel like, we have a little bit of an inside look at, like, high school curriculum, because Alex's mom used to work at a high school
and my
very
dad
recently.
worked on a school board for a long time.
So we're not talking out of our ass here. We do know a little bit about it, like, going on right now. There are not a lot of, like, financial courses in a high school. There's like
that aren't elective.
yes.
Like the forced class, the required classes are your math, science, social studies, history, blah blah blah. But the required classes are not necessarily all classes that are going to prepare you to be in the real world.
Right, for sure. And this specific, school that we're referring to is doing that from the very get, from pre-K to, a 12th grader. So This podcast is not in any way to plug them. It just so happens that we found this a few weeks ago when Caitlin James said, announced that she was launching one. And I kind of was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, where was this when I was a child?
And we already had this topic on our list. So
yeah, it was very fitting. But yeah.
We're getting a little off the rails with the whole education idea. But in general, as it stands right now with this episode I think it's important to remember that you don't have to go to college to be successful.
Yeah, for sure.
Period.
Mic drop.
Mics are expensive. I'm not going to drop the mic.
All right, y'all. That is all we have on the docket today.
I feel like there's a lot of conversation that can be had with this, so definitely head over to YouTube if you're not there already. Leave a comment on this episode. Let's start a discussion on this topic.
For sure.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, make sure you subscribe if you don't already, and we will see you next time.
Peace.
You know we got it like that. Got it like that. You know we got it like that. Got it like that.